Hey, Jim Cam here, founder franchisor of multiple brands exceeding over 150 locations. So today video will be covering a very specific question that will get asked a lot. Most of the interested people that contact us, they always ask, how much down payment do we need? Because I always mention that the whole total investment for all of my brands sits between 150K up to 250K. Of course, we have Turnberry. That's the only brand, I think, not only on my portfolio, but overall everywhere. You cannot find another brand that you can open with under 100K in total investment. So total investment is not the same as your initial capital investment. The reason is simple, is unless you have a big bag of money and you want to fund the whole project, yes, the total investment will be your initial investment too. And by the way, we do have a lot of cases like this, but for the general cases is most of the franchisee, they prefer to go with a small business loan. And the small business loan covers the construction, the signage, the equipment, sometimes the inventory. Depends on how we can make it work. It all depends on your debt and assets ratio. So let me break it down in a way that is going to be easy for you to understand. Is I just mentioned that the small business loan from the bank will cover those parts, right? So one thing that the bank will not cover are franchise fees, rent deposit, and the first inventory. So the franchise fees for my brands are 35K, and also the rent deposit depends on the landlord, depends on the location. But we'll try to help you negotiate for a maximum of 3-month rent. The average is 5K, so that means you need to put 15K down. So 35 plus 15, there's taxes on top of that. We live in Canada, Quebec, so there's no hiding. And plus the first inventory depends on how big and how aggressive you want to start. So that will sit between 50K up to 70, 80K. That's your initial total investment. Yes, sometimes it can go much higher, but it really depends on each cases. So that's why it's better for you to sit with one of my key members. They will be explaining all the small details for you. That means based on the location, based on the territory, and also based on the brand. But enough said. So that means we need to understand your own personal financial situation first, so we can help you determine which brand will be the best fit for you, and also probably which location will be the best for you. Because sometimes you might want, let's say, West Island, Turnberry, very specific. But if we don't have the location available, what are the other options left? Or if we do have that location available, but your total investment is much lower than what is required for you to capture that location, what you gonna do? Will you try to find more capitals, or will you be good to settle within a location that will ask a smaller initial investment? Because sometimes we do have a lot of off-market deals that will be presented to you. Like imagine getting a good rent location for a space that has already all the basic construction in place. That means plumbing, flooring, and also electricity. Then you will save a lot. If you don't mind about this and you want to save an extra 50K, then I'll suggest you to go with a location that you never thought of in the first place. But if you're really picky, you really want something so specific, then there's no helping. You just need more capitals. There's multiple ways to get approved by a small business loan. But one thing that is inevitable is you need to have a minimum of good credit score. That's the reason why I prefer to let my VP answer the following question. Can you use a line of credit for the initial capital investment? Can you remortgage? Can you borrow money? Can you use your personal credit card? Those are very specific, so I'll let my VP Trong answer those questions, and also they will give you better insight on how the banking loan works.
Once the potential franchisee put the deposit, our team help them find a location. So we look into the areas that they like, or we sometimes have some in hand to be able to show them and have the visits. If they like it, they take it. Upon the decision of taking the space, we do a pre-evaluation in terms of the financing. So we check the candidate to see if they have the credit score, usually around 600, if they have net asset values, as well as if they own a mortgage. That is usually a good thing for the financing part. With all this, we do a pre-approval to make sure that we know how much they can get in terms of the financing. And from there, we built the file for the whole process. So the project itself, all related to the costs, the leasehold improvement in terms of the rent deposit, as well as all the fees related to accounting, administrative, trainings, and so on. So the bank, usually they ask for a minimum down payment. It varies from one brand to another. But for sure, the the franchise fee deposit counts as the down payment for them. So what they want to see is that the candidate can put money down for the project and they're willing to move forward. For sure, they won't give a loan if you don't put any money into the project, and which is normal. So the franchise fee, usually $35,000, counts as the down payment. In terms of the process itself, we have forms that needs to be filled. The personal finance statement, usually they ask for the T4 or the R1 from the previous year, as well as bank statement to show that there's a flow of income and see how much spending they have monthly. Those are criteria that the bank want to see to make sure that there's money coming in and there's money coming out, but it's not a substantial amount, to make sure that it's a lower risk for the bank. For the down payment, it is best to have in liquidity cash. The line of credit is not good because it's going to affect the credit score. So we rather have the candidate have the money in their bank and be able to move from there. If they have a mortgage with an available amount, that can be also used, but this is best to consult us and our team to be able to make sure that we have the best scenario and the best options for the candidate as well. A typical loan, usually it's about 5 to 7 years, depending on the loan itself. The interest rate, we get that question a lot, is usually 6 to 9%. That is based on the candidate itself. So the banks can evaluate the risk and be able to see if it's riskier with this candidate or a low risk. So they're gonna adapt between the 6 and 9%. There's no secret to that. I mean, the credit score, the higher the credit score, the better it is, as well as available funds. When they have liquidity, they have assets, they have savings and available mortgage. Those are criteria that ease the loan itself. So based on all those, they could actually move forward to the 6%. So the down payment varies depending on the total project cost. So there's a minimum and each brand has separate minimum. Sometimes it's 30%, sometimes it's 10%. But for sure, if you don't have enough for the down payment, there are two potential solutions. One is to check in with us and see what we can do. Sometimes there are projects available that can cost less, so which would fit in the down payment that you have. Otherwise, we would suggest to partner up with either a close friend, family, or brother and sisters to be able to bring the sum together and apply for the loan. That way it eases the access to the loan as well. For most of our new franchisees, most of them are family owned, family run, and sometimes they have friends and partners that join together to build the store and the portfolio on the long run. So that's something that we have seen across the years and it's been blooming as well. If you have any questions relating to the financing, I'll be happy to help. Reach out to me and me and my team will look into it for you.
So let's hope this video was useful for you. If you have more specific questions, it's better to book a one-on-one call meeting with my team so they can better answer those specific questions. So if there's anything else you want me to cover in the next video, just comment below. If not, I'll see you next time. Peace out.